You're welcome to my channel, Mindset Academy, where we want to focus on an important topic in engineering, and that is assembly drawing. In today's video, we'll be assembling the different components of a C clamp. If you look at the right hand side of the screen, you see a diagram that have different items that belongs to what? A C clamp. So we are told to assemble this component correctly, right, in this particular video, right? So if you look closely at the right hand side, we have 7 different items that makes this component, that makes this C clamp. If you look at where my arrow is pointing, item 1 represents the frame of the C clamp, and the material it is made of is a cast iron. Then the quantity that we have there is just one of it, right? So this is what we call our part list. It's the first thing you should do when you are given an assembly drawing or any component that you want to assemble. You need to write out a part list that will tell you what and what you have on the table. Now the other one we have here is the item 2 where my arrow is pointing, and that is the screw, and it is made up of what? Mild steel, and we also have one of it also. If you look at the next one, item 3 is the pad, and it's made from what? From mild steel also, one of it. Item 4, which my arrow is pointing, is the tummy bar, made up from mild steel also. Item 5 is the collar from mild steel. And item 6 is the pin. And we also have what is called what? Item 7, which is the cap screw. All are made from mild steel except from the frame, which is made from cast iron. And we have one each of these different items. Now the first thing we'll do is you draw your vertical line. We'll start from item 1, which is the frame, where my arrow is pointing. And I'll draw a vertical line this way from here. Paint line first. You can see that. If you look at from here to here in the diagram, right, I call it the total height. It is 245. 245. And I'll start from here, right, and I'll measure my 245 upward. So if I'm starting from 1, taking my 1 to be 0, mean if I start from 0, I'd have stopped at what? 245. But since I'm starting from 1, I'll stop at what? 255 at this point here. So 0 to 245 or 1 to 255. So this is the height. This is where I'm stopping here, right? So I will take my set square and I'll also draw an horizontal line here also. I'll come here also. I'll draw another horizontal line too here also. You can see that. Now the next thing is the total length. So let's see. If you count from this point to this point is 8. From this point to this point 46. And the next point is what? Is another 8. So 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 46 will give us what? 62, right? Now the next one again is from here to here, which is 75. So 62 plus 75 is going to give us 137, right? Now that is to this center here, and we know that half of the center from here to here is diameter 45. So half of 45 is 22 and a half. So 137 plus 22 will give us 159 and a half, right? so approximately 170, so 159 and a half. So I'm going to measure 159 and a half from this point here, right? From here I'll measure 159 and a half. So this is what we have here, 159. I'm starting from 1, so I'm going to stop here, measure 159 and a half, right? If you count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 159 here. And I will close it up this way, right? And I'm going to what? Close it up this way. So this is form out the box here. So if you look at this closely, the thickness between here to here is given as 8. So I'm going to measure 8 from this point here to this point is given to be 8. So this is my 8 here. You can see that. That is the height to have. And I am going to close it up. So from here to here is the 8. And I'll close it up. You can see that. Now the next thing is, if you check from here to here, it's given to be 20, and I'm going to measure 20 from this point to this point. I'll measure 20, 0 to 20. You can see that. And after 0 to 20 again, I'm going to measure 35 again. So from 35 here, from this point, I'll measure 35 again. Then I'll measure 12 again. So I'll measure 12 from here to here. This is 12, right? So with what we have here, I will just draw my horizontal line this way. This, just faint line first of all. This, right? So this is what we have here. Is that okay? So if I have done that, the next thing I'll do is this. From the base here, I'm going to measure another 8. From that base here, we'll measure 8 from 0 to 8. So this is 1, this is 8 here. This point is 8, right? Now if I've done that, measuring the 8, this is what I'll do, and I'll take it to touch the point what? 20. I'll take this end here to touch the point 20. That's what I'll do. I'll take that end to touch the point 20, this end here. You can see that. And I'll measure another 10 again here, another 8 again, this point, because the thickness is what? Is 8. So I'll measure 8 here. This is 8, right? And I'll measure 8 here too. This is 8. And I'm going to join those 2.2 here. You can see that. Now, if you notice it, there's a fillet, it is not sharp. And we're giving the radius of this curve here to be what? 25. So I'll measure 25 on my meter rule this way. From 0 to what? To 25. This is what we have here. Alright? And I'll place it at this point here. At this point, I'll mark 25. And I'll mark here also 25. With the same radius, I'll place it on that point. I will strike an arc. I'll place on this point. I'll strike another arc again. You can see that. So where they meet at this point, with the same radius, I'll close it up. So you can thicken it. You can see that. The same thing that I did here, I'll do it here too. From this point where they meet, I'll strike an arc here. I'll also strike another arc here. So where they meet here, I'll strike an arc. At this point here also, I'll strike another arc. So they are meeting at this point here. They are meeting at this point here, right? So the radius of this, I'll take it here. I'll do the same thing. You can see that. And if you check the diagram very well, at this point too, we also have what is called a curved jet too. Is that taken? So at this end point with the same radius, I use 25 here, right? I use 25 here, and I'll come to this point where it intersects. I'll mark 25, 25. Where it meets, I'll do this, strike an arc. I'll come here, strike another arc. So where they meet at that point, I'll take my compass there at the point of intersection, and I'm going to do the same thing here. You can see that. And I'll come here also. I'll give another space here, another distance of what? Of 8 here too. So let me do that, because the thickness is 8 from our diagram. So I'll just do this. Now measure 8. To this 8 here, right? So from that point, I'm going to take it down with my set square. I'll take it down, faint line first. So it is meeting at this point here, right? It's meeting here. So at that point, with the same radius of what? 25. Now I use 25 here. I'll place it at this point. I'll strike an arc here. Let me put it here. This should be this point, 25. And here also 25. Right? Where it meets, I'll place it here. I'll strike an arc. I'll place it here also. I'll strike another arc. So where they meet at this point, I'm going to draw a curve this way. Coming. So this is what to do to got in that arc. But now we're given another one here, which we are told is from here to here is radius 12. So I'm going to, the arc here is radius 12, so I'm going to measure radius 12 from here. Radius 12, 0 to 12, right? And I'll place it at this point. At this point here, I'll mark, and I'll come here also place it here in order to have my curve here. This is where I'm going to stop. So at this point is where I'm going to draw my horizontal line. So at this point, where we mark 12, we'll just draw a line. This is where we'll draw our line at this point. So this is where we'll stop. So all this is not needed. So I'm going to delete this off. Now from this point on the screen, which is this point here to this, so the point around here, as you can see on the screen, is given to be what? Diameter 45. So I'm going to measure 45 here. From here to here, this is 45, which I am going to what? Thicken. From here to here is 45, so I'm going to thicken it this way. You can see that, and in doing that, get the center point of it, which is 22.5 here. Now the next thing I'm going to do here will be from the center point here that I mark, from here to here is 45, and here is 22.5. You can see on the screen from this top here, I'll now measure 75 to the next line here. So I'll measure 75 from here. From this point, I'll measure 75. This is 75 here. That is where I'll draw my next line this way. So I'll draw my next line this way. Right? On that line, I'll now measure 8 as the distance in between here, 8. So this is 8 here. Right? And I'll take it up this way. From this point, take it up this way. You can see that. Now once I have done that, right, so the next thing is we are given a radius. Is that taken? Where this meet and where this meet. So I'll take my radius here and I'm going to mark radius of what? 225. As you can see on the screen, the arc here is radius of 25. So I'll measure radius of 25 on my meter rule. This is 25 here, right? And I'll place it at this point here. Let me confirm that again. And I'll place at this point here. I'll mark 25, 25. I'll come here. I'll strike an arc. I'll come here. I'll strike another arc. So where they meet at this point here, I'm going to draw this arc. You can see that is where I'm going to join this arc to, which I did here. So I will join this to that point. You can see that. Now the next one is we are going to measure 8 from the base here because the thickness is 8. So I'm going to measure 8 from the base here. This is 8 here. Right? This is 8 here. And I'll now draw my horizontal line there. You can see that? So it will be from that point now. I'll now take the radius of what? 25. The radius of 25 is the arc there. So from this point here, I'll strike an arc up and I'll strike it down. Where it meets, I'll bisect. Where it meets here, I'll also what? Bisect. So where both of them meet at this point, I'll now draw my arc. You can see that. So with the help of my pencil, right, I will draw an arc here at this point. I'll bring it down because if you look at the diagram where my arrow is pointing, it is also a fillet here. So I'll just take my compass with the same radius I used here, right? I'll bisect here, place it here, strike an arc, place it here, strike another arc. So where they meet, I'll get that arc here. You can see that. So in doing that, I'm going to connect these 2 points together. These two to this. You can see that. So I'll now join from here to here. You can see that. So we'll move forward. Now, if you now look from this point to this point is 125, right? So I'm going to take my meter rule and I'll measure from this point here straight down to this point, 125, and that is where I'm going to draw a straight line this way. Bend line first of all. You can see that. Now if you look closely again, the height from here to here is 45. So I'm going to measure another 45 from this point here. This is 45 here, right? And I will just draw another horizontal line there, this way. You can see that. Now the distance from here to here is the same distance from here to here, and that is given as what? 45, right? So I'm going to measure another 45 from here. This is 45 here, and I'll close it up. You see that? Now what I'll do here is that I'm going to take the last point here as you see in the question, right? I'll take the next point here, which will be the center, right? This line here is the center, that is where this arc is touching. So I'm going to take that, measure that center line. We know this is center line, half of 45, which is 22.5. And I'll just take it up from this point here, right? So once I've done that, start taking. So where this point meets here, right? I'll draw the line from here to touch that point, this outside one here. I'll draw it from here to come and touch this. You can see that. And I'll measure another 8mm from the top here. This is 8 here. You can see that. So from that point, I'll just draw an horizontal line here a little bit. So I'll draw from this point to this point here, but I'm going to measure 8mm downward, right? I'll measure 8mm downward from here. So if I'm doing that, I'll measure 8mm downward. This is 8 here. So I'll connect this point to this point. You can see that. So what I did here, I'll repeat the same feat here. On this point here to here is radius of what? 25, right? And I'll come here, the radius of 25 too, I'll place it here too. And I'll mark on this line 25 here and 25 here. I'll place it here also with the same radius. I'll cut at this point. I'll place it here. I'll also cut at this point. So where they meet, I'm going to get the other arc here. You can see that, and I'll do the same thing here too. At this point, I'll mark 25, 25. Where they meet here also, I'll place it here, I'll strike an arc, and I'll place it here also, I'll strike another arc. They are meeting at this point here. So I'll just take my compass, the same radius, I'll take it to those 2 points here. Then I'm going to draw my arc. You can see that. So what we have here, this is going straight down here, which I'm going to thicken. You can see that. And the other one, before I do that, I will first of all treat this first. This point here, which is this point, I'll project it. It's touching this point on the screen. So I'll move it to touch here, the first line. So if I move it, that is the length of 45. Right, it's touching here. Then from that point, I'll measure another 8 millimeter upward because thickness is 8 millimeter. So I'll measure 8 millimeter upward. This is 8 here. And I'll just do another one again, the center line. But before I do that, if I draw this vent line, yes, just draw another line in this way. You can see that. So with the same radius of 25 also, I'm going to place it here too with the same radius of 25 because all this area have the same radius. So I'll come here where, let me take this to the back here. Take this to the back here. So where this, I'll bisect here, radius of 25, I'll also bisect here. The same radius, I'll place it here. I'll strike an arc. I'll place it here also. I'll strike another arc. Right? So where they meet at this point here, I'm going to draw that curve. Right? I'll draw the curve this way. You can see that. And I'm going to do the other one too. From this point where this line and this line meets, I'll do the same thing. Cut here. I'll cut here. I'll come here also. I'll strike an arc. I'll come here also. I'll strike another arc. So where they meet at this point, I'll do the same thing. You can see that. So with that, if you look at the diagram very well, there's a curve here, right? So what I'll do is I'll bisect these 2 points here to get the center. So strike an arc, bisect here and here, place it here also, strike another arc, bisect here and here. So I'll take my compass, my rule, and join the two center. Not really joining them, just to get the center of this point. Just draw a straight line this way. From that point, at the center point here, you take your compass to this point, right? And you draw your arc. I'll be touching here. This is what we have here. So I can now take in from this point to this point. right? I can also take in from this point to this point, right? And we'll proceed, we'll come in. So I'll start taking all this point here. If I take in from here to this point, then I'll close it up and close it up too. Then I'll close it too. A little bit. Right? And I'll close it up too. And before that, again, you can see that we have at this point we have a component here, right? Which is 45 mm apart, and that is still the cross section of this figure XX. So what I'll do is I need to get half of 245. Then half of 245 is 122.5. So if I take my rule and I place it at this point here, I'll measure 122.5 here. So this is 120. This is 121, 122.5 here. That is the center of this figure here. Right? This will end up with the reference line first. So from that point, I'm going to measure 45 up and down. So that is 22 and a half up and down. So we know that from here to here 45. So I'll just take half of it, which is 22 and a half, or you measure it on your meter rule. And you place it at the point here. You mark it up. 22 and a half, 22 and a half. Right? And the thickness is 8. So I'll take 4. So if I should measure 4 each, from 0 to 4, and I'll place it here. I'll mark 4 here, and I'll mark 4 here. Now what I've done, I'll just join these 2 points together here this way, and I'll join here to this way. You can see that. And the next thing I am going to be doing here is I'll close it up too. Just close this point up here, and close it up to here, this side too, here, and here. So I'll have to, there's a fillet here. So with that same 4, I'm going to draw that curve there. So from here to here, right? From this point to this point, you measure your 4 here, 4 here. And from this point, you strike your arc. Here also you strike your arc. Where they meet, you're going to have this. So see that? You're going to have that. You come here also with the same thing. Cut an arc, strike another arc from this point. You cut here from this point. You cut here too. Where they meet, you get the other curve here too, this way. That's what you do for everything. You can just close it up. You can take it from here to here. You do the same thing here too in every point. So if I do that, I'll be having a curve here, another curve here. So I'll close them up. I'll close everything up here. So now from here, just close from here up. And from here too, I'll just close it up. See that? From here to, I'll close it up, then close it up. Here also, just close it up. Right? And you can easily section this part as shown in the diagram here. A section here. As shown in the diagram here. Right? So this is what we have here from that part you can see on the screen, right? So the next thing that we'll be focusing on, you see what we've done here, we've replicated the diagram. That is, we've replicated the frame of, that is item 1, we repeated it. Now what do you notice? You discover that item 2 is penetrating item 1. How did I know that? The reason is this. If you check this here, we said square thread diameter 24, right? And if you check here also, we have square thread diameter 24. So meaning that what? This component is entering this component here. Is that okay now? So it is entering it. So I'll just put it in this way. So I'll measure 24 at both sides, 12, 12 each. So I'll take my compass and I'll measure 12. 0 to 12. You can see that? And I'll place at the center point here. I'm going to mark 12, 12. You can see that? Then I'll draw it down using my set square. I'll take it down using my set square this way. From here, just faint line first of all. Faint line first of all. You can see that? And the next thing that I will be doing here is we're given that at the base here, the height from this part here, this part here, I'll just draw an horizontal line. Anywhere I like, anywhere of my choice, I'll draw an horizontal line. Let me take this down a little bit so you have a feel of what I'm trying to draw. So I'll just draw an horizontal line at this part, this way. So if I've done that, the height, I'm going to measure 32 millimeter upward. So taking, but before that 2 millimeter, what I'll do here is I'll take my 45 degree set square, right? And I'm going to place it in this manner. You can see that? So I'll just draw a line this way from this point, and I'll draw another one away from this point. right? So I can just draw at any given radius, maybe 2 millimeter, 5 millimeter, any of them. I'll just connect these 2 points at any given radius of your choice, since it is not given. Consider, so I can easily take in here and here, right? And I can close it up here. Then the rest will go up again, start again, to go up again a little bit. This is not given. Can decide it to be this, right? Now there's a hidden line here, and the thickness there is going to be 12. Diameter of what? 12. So measure 12 from here. So that is given. So I'll take my meter rule and measure 12. So this is 12 here, right? So I'll just close it up and this way, dotted line. That again. And to get the center there, if it's 12, then the center that we have will be a curve. So I can just take the center. Half of 12 is 6. There's 6 here. So if I place the compass this way, if I place it this way, which I don't really have to do it. So one thing you need to understand is, I'll leave that space there. First of all, I'll come back to it. Now the next one we have in here is from this point to this point is 32. That is from here I'll measure 32 upward. Then just take that up. Right, so I'll measure 32 from here. These are the two here. Can you see that? So after that, I'll just draw my horizontal line this way first. Now bring the other one up this way. Right? So what I'll do is the center of this line, which is this, I'll take it up. This is where it is. Now, so you measure, you just take this up a little bit, maybe a little bit up, right? And you transfer the point here too. I take it a little bit up, and you take the radius of 32 and you draw that up. So again, you place it anywhere you want to, and you draw from this point here, and you draw this. This is what you have here. So one thing you need to understand is um item 4 is going in through here. If you look closely, item 4, how did I know that? The diameter there is 12, right? And the diameter of the item 4 is also 12. So it is what is the one that will enter here that you'll be spinning it. So I'll just put it here at just draw it here this way. It's going in this way. take the entire length to be 210. So I can start from anywhere and I'll measure 200. So I can start from here. This is 200 here. Here also the same thing. You see that? Now I'm here to the field. So since we are giving it to be the thickness is what 20, right? So if you remove 12 from 20, it remain what? It will remain, if you remove 12 from 20, it will remain 8, right? So that means the height here, I'll just take this and measure 4. This is 4. So I'll come here, I'll mark 4. I'll come here also, I'll mark 4. I can easily close it up. If to this, I'll close it up. And I'll close it up too. And I'll close it up too. And I'll close it up too. And here. Then the rest will be going in to where the screw is. So this will be coming in here. And here too. Now close it up. I'll close it up. Right? This is the item 4. I don't really need to see this if it's passing through the figure except you are sectioning, so let's remove that. Don't forget that there's a curve here. I can just put that here. The curve that we have here. So it's going in, right? Just like the question suggests. So the rest thing that we have in here is just what we have here. So I'll just stick in the rest. Mhm. And the rest will come. So this is the item what? Item 4, which is the tummy bar, right? So let me put the center line here. This is our center line. That's the tummy bar. So we're taking it downward. So the entire height from item 2, from the top here, straight down is 190, right? 100 and what? 90 from here. So I'll stop at 200. This is where everything ends. So I'll just draw my line this way. You can see that? Then if you look at that base here, we're having diameter of 20. And if you looking at this point where my arrow is pointing at item 2, diameter of 20. And also we have diameter of what? Of 20 here too, right? At this point. So it means that what? Item 2, item 2 is entering item 3 at this point here. Is that okay? So I'm going to fit in item what? Item 2 into item 3, right? So from here to here is going in, like it's going in, So I will measure 8 millimeter upward this way. This is 8 here. And I'm going to draw my horizontal line at that point. So it will be at that point, I'll measure diameter of 40. From here to here is 40, so I'll take half of it, which is what, 20. This is 20 here. And I'll place it at this point. And I'm going to mark 20, 20. You can see that? And also, I'll take diameter, I'll bring it down a little bit, but before that, I'll take diameter of 20 again, then I'll take 10, 10 again here. Measure 10. I'll come here and I'll mark 10, 10. So that point where I mark diameter 20, 20 here, I'll just take it down. Faint line first of all. Faint line first of all. Downward. Then here also downward. So the entire tip height here is 28. So I'll measure 28 from 0 to 28 here. Right? And I'll close it up. Either 0 to 28. I'll just close it up this way. Right? I'll close it up this way. And I'll measure half of 45, which is the same thing as you see here, right? So it means that this is ending here and this is ending here. So I can easily, the item 7, which is the cap screw, is going in here, right? So what I will simply do here is this. I can easily take in all this point here, from here to here, right? And the cap screw, the diameter of the cap screw is 12, so I'll measure 6, 6 each. Since the diameter of the cap screw here is 12, so I'll measure 6 from 0 to 6, and I'll place it here. And I'll mark 6 and what? 6. You can see that? And I'll take it in with 5 millimeter. Let's just take this in a little bit. So I'm just redrawing component 3, what I'm doing. And the height is 5. This is 5 here. Right? So I'm going to close that up this way. That again. And from here, it's connected to this up here. So how will I do that? This is what I am going to do. It is M16, right? So if you multiply M16 by 1.5, we'll be having 24, right? But if you look at the thickness from here to here, it's giving a diameter to be what? 5, right? Diameter is 12. So what I will do is I'll just measure the 12. The 12 is going in here. The 12 is going in here. So I'll take my meter rule and I'll measure 6, 6, which is what I've done already, right? So I'll just take it in from here to here. The height of 10 from here upward. First of all, this is 10 here, and I'll close it up. Faint line first. So it is meeting at this point and at this point. So I'll use my compass to draw that fillet. Meeting here. Right? right? And I'll come here also. I'm going to do the same thing where they meet here. I'll mark here and I'll mark here. Place it here. Check and arc. And talking about here, this is coming down from here to here. That's what I'll do. Place it here. Check and arc. Place it here. Check another arc. Where they meet, I'm going to have this. Right? So I can start taking some of them here. So you know I measured from here to here to be diameter 40. So I can just bring this down. And like, I'll bring this one down too. And like, so this side is chamfered. As in there's a fillet here and also here too. So I can take it up. And take this up too. Right? And what I'll close here down too here. And I'll close it down too. And here too. And what else do we have here? We'll close here up to this 20 that we measured. From here to here. And from here to here. And we'll bring it into a height of 19. From here to here 19 from the base. I'll measure 19. So this is 19 here, which we've done. Then this is what we'll roll. Then I'll roll it down to touch that line of 19. From here to come and touch here. From here to come and touch here. That is height of 19. Then it's going in and I'll close it up. Close it up. Right? So with the help of my 45 degrees set square, I'll take it in. Sorry. From this point here. Take it in. I'll go here too. I'll take it in. All good. Then I can easily close it down a little bit because the thickness here. Let's close it up. Then I'll bring it down. Because that thickness there is given to be what? 12. So 6 you're going to measure there. Let's take it down. Here down. So the screw is coming in here. So this is our screw here. That is the cap screw that is holding this component together. I can easily thicken this from here straight down, and this from here straight down. Right? So I'll section it because the question says we should section. So I'm going to section at this point too here. Right? So we'll section that part because that part here is what is sectioned. Now the next thing that we will be doing here will be, because we section it, that is why all this is showing. If we didn't section it, all this will not show. So it means that automatically this will be going out through this way. So because we section them, so I'll be drawing this. So I'll draw that and I'll section it also. So if I'm sectioning it, all this will be off. This line will not be there. Without section, this line will be there, but with section, this line will not be there. So let me just close it up. So just have that in mind. Without section, all this will not be there. So let me clean it off. So let me section that. All this will not be there too. We don't only section the bolts and the nuts. And also we are going to section this part too. So here we'll now go through. So I will not see this because I'm sectioning them. So I will not see these two places. So let me remove that. So this will be going through. So let me section. So this is what we have here. Once you section that, start taking. Once you section that, this is what you're going to have. So if I'm to limit them, this you see here is item 1, right? This is item 1. I'll just put it here. This is item 1. Right? Then this is item 2. Right? Then this is item 3. Right? Then this is item 4. Right? Then item 5 is the pin, is the color here, right? So we have what is called the item what? Item 6 is the pin. Then we have the cap screw, which is item 7. This is item 7 here. 7, right? Then we identify here. So what is again? And that's what we have here. This is what we are told to draw, right? This is the C clamp that we have assembled. So I believe this have enhanced your understanding and you have a better view of how to assemble a given machine part or given components, right? So if you this video have been helpful or useful to you, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and also share the video. Thanks for watching.